Hello, and welcome to Find Your Voice, where we interview thought leaders from our community at Podcast Guesting Pro. I'm Cassie Welford, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Sharon Mills. Sharon is a puppy trainer and canine behaviour educator with more than 34 years of hands-on experience helping owners understand how dogs think, learn and communicate. After running a licensed German Shepherd kennel for 21 years, Sharon now teaches how to create calm, well-mannered dogs through simple, practical techniques that build better behaviour by actually understanding the canine mind and not just repeating commands. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Cassie. What an introduction.
It's an incredible expertise, and we're really looking forward to finding out more about that so that you can help even more puppy and dog
For
owners.
sure. Yeah.
So I'd love to start by speaking about your own experience. You've placed 450 German Shepherd puppies over 21 years. What homecoming mistake did you see on a regular basis, and how did that derail the early training of those puppies?
Okay. I guess the number one thing that we saw was people treating their puppy like a baby, even to the point where they would put the baby on its back and carry it on its back, like in its arm and their arms and puppies on the back. And that's all very well if we've got a human baby, but canines, puppies, don't like that sort of thing. So putting a puppy on its back is a very submissive position for a pup or for a dog even. And so we're teaching the puppy to be abnormally submissive right from the very beginning. And also, dogs don't like being picked up. And I know people are going to say, my dog does. And I'm going to say, no, it doesn't. And one of the problems that comes with that is when you pick a puppy up all the time, or even your adult dogs, if you've got a dog that's small enough to pick up, the problem that comes from that is when you call your dog to come to you, the dog will come to a certain distance, but it won't come all the way to you because it leaves itself enough room to bounce out of the way when you bend down to pick it up. So it never comes all the way to you. So my ex-husband and I, we bred the dogs together. He was the breeder, I was the trainer. We went to this German Shepherd. I bred German Shepherds. We went to the first birthday party. We were invited to this dog's birthday party. And the female dog, we call them a bitch. If I go back into that language, just know that it's okay. I said to the lady, does she always do that? Like she was calling the dog over. The dog came every time, but she stopped before she got to the people. I said, does she always do that? And she said, yeah, why? And I said, well, doesn't she come to you, like up to you so you can just pat the dog? And she said no. And anyway, after speaking to her, they told me that they always picked it up. And over the years, I've said to people when I've seen that behavior, did you pick your puppy up? Yeah, all the time. Now I know from hundreds of dogs and hundreds of trainings and being in so many people's homes that when you pick your dogs up, they will never come all the way to you. So not only do people treat them like a baby, flipping them on their back and that sort of thing, by picking them up, you damage that bond. You think you've got a bond, but the dog hates it. And so you damage that bond right from day one from picking it up. Be better to teach the puppy to come. And so if you can say, puppy, come, and the pup will come to you. So we could do that in the first 3 days, and then the puppy comes to us and we can pat it, we can sit on the floor, we can do all of that sort of thing.
That is a fascinating insight, Sharon, and so interesting that you've seen these patterns so many times. And you mentioned then so many times that you've just the behaviour and the impact of the dog owner's behaviour on the puppies. And you mentioned about the early days, and I would love to ask you, why are the first 16 weeks so crucial in sharing whether a puppy becomes calm and confident and easy to live with?
Throughout the ages, there are studies done on dogs. Scott and Fuller, they did some studies, and then there's Fluffenberger, who did the studies on the critical stages of development for a puppy. The first stage of development would be from the day they're born through to 3 weeks. Then you've got the second week, that's the 4th week of life. A lot of people have a puppy that's nervous and they just can't seem to get on top of it. They might go forward 2 steps and back 3 and forward 1 and back 2. And they never really seem to get over this puppy that is nervous all the time and shy. But that comes from breeders not knowing what they're doing. That 4th week of life if you move the puppies from the back bedroom to the front bedroom, or in my case, it was the back kennel to the front kennel, and now all of a sudden the puppies can hear the telephone ringing and the kids can run up to the puppies, and that fourth week of life cannot change. If the puppies are in the back kennel, they stay in the back kennel for that whole fourth week and then move them in the fifth week or move them in the third week. But according to the studies, when you add all that change to a puppy's life in that fourth week, you can create or damage their character and alter it so much so that it's nothing like it originally was, just by moving that puppy in that fourth week. So there's these critical stages of development that the breeder has to do and do properly, so that you got a sound puppy by 8 weeks of age, and then they can go to their new owners. The first 16 weeks are the first critical stages of development. So you got the birth, fourth week. A puppy has an adult brain at 7 weeks of age, give or take. A horse is born with an adult brain, but a puppy has an adult brain at 7 weeks of age and a fully developed adult brain by 16 weeks. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So whatever we teach our puppies between 7 weeks and 16 weeks stays with them for life, the good and the bad. So if we are a sometimes trainer, like sometimes we make the puppy do it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we say outside and the puppy doesn't go outside, but we're watching a movie and we don't want to get up and we don't make the puppy do it, then that dog will be a sometimes dog. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. We end up with a sometimes dog. People say all the time, well, sometimes it comes. That's because the training was sometimes. And so that first 16 weeks of life is critical that we get it right. So typically you get a puppy at 8 weeks, 8, 9 weeks. And then you've got 7 or 8 weeks to do your training, start the basics. You should get calm down pat in 3 days. Sit. You want the puppy to sit for its food. We should be able to teach it sit in 3 days without even touching it. We can move on to sit and wait when the pup's a little bit older. I have found that about 11 weeks, 10 or 11 weeks, we can introduce wait. We want the puppy to wait while we put the food on the ground and then stand up. So whatever we teach the puppy in that first, let's just say 8 to 16 weeks, will remain with the dog for life. You can go on and teach the puppy other things as it gets older, but this is the age that we teach them to learn to learn.
That is
And it's
fascinating.
incredible that you can have an 8-week-old puppy that will come on one command. That
Yeah.
will sit for its food, that will sit for you. 9 weeks, I start lead training at 9 weeks, but at 9 weeks, we can actually get a puppy to walk beside our left leg on a loose lead. But they are trainable. So that is the very best time to train. It's that stage, then any time that you train is a good time, but this is the very best time. This is the age. Like our little children, we shape our children from birth to 6 years. Well, we've only got 8 weeks with a puppy to do that shaping, and then that remains with them for life.
Absolutely. And it's such an important message to share, because can we speak a bit about the longer term consequences if an owner waits too long? So what would be the longer term consequences when owners just wait too long to try and train their puppy?
You see that a lot because puppies are so trainable that you can get away with. People always have good intentions. I'm going to train this dog. This is going to be the best dog I've ever had. And then the puppy comes home. Because it's so trainable, it will come to puppy, puppy, puppy. It will run after you, but that runs out of punch. And all of a sudden the puppy's not coming, but now you haven't done your training. You actually haven't done proper training. And so now you're at 4 months, 5 months, and life is busy. Puppy was good. Now it's not so good. Now, I get a lot of calls when the dog's 7 months of age, and that's another critical developmental stage. The puppy's 7 months of age, it's all of a sudden, well, it says, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm a big dog now. Like our teenagers, I'm not going to do that anymore. So then people resort to yelling at the dog, that sort of thing. You take that a step further. If you don't actually knuckle down and do your training, then all sorts of things happen. The household gets loud. The dog is noisy. The dog is out of control. There's chaos in the house. If you've got kids and there's kids that are getting ready for school, the dog's barking, the dog's running around the house, and the dog's pitching their socks, and all of this sort of thing. It just becomes chaotic. So you end up by throwing the dog outside, get outside, I can't deal with you and the kids. And all of a sudden, what you wanted to be a beautiful addition to the family becomes chaotic. And you wonder why you ever thought getting a dog was a good idea. And then take it another step further. I saw online today, I've got a beautiful little, well, big, huge 9-month-old golden retriever. First dog that hasn't been a German Shepherd for me in a long time. And I've always wanted a golden. And they are what people say. They are beautiful family dogs. And I've got grandchildren now, and we rent the paddocks out to people with horses. And so there's people here every day. And I didn't want more German Shepherds. I didn't want the guarding, like the German Shepherds will guard. I didn't want that this time. I wanted a beautiful, easygoing dog, especially with the grandkids. And my sister's got grandkids, and we live on the same property. And anyway, I saw online that this lady started out by saying, I've got this beautiful 2-year-old golden retriever, and they live in an apartment, so she wouldn't be living anywhere near me. I live in the country. So they have to take this dog for a walk 3 times a day. So the story goes on that she takes the dog for a walk, then it's allowed to be off-leash in an off-leash park. But this particular day, she didn't have enough time. So the dog bit her, actually bit her. Her arm is covered in bruises. I should have got the photo and sent it to you so you could have put it up. And so she's asking, why and how do I fix it? The dog had gotten out of its position. The humans should be the pack leaders. And you don't have to be mean to be a pack leader. People think, oh, I have to be so hard on my dog. That's not true at all. To be a pack leader of my Bentley here, I had a choker chain on him one day. I use chokers. I don't have any problem with chokers. This is his. When you put it on properly and use it, it relaxes. If I need to use it, it pulls up. Anyway, I normally have this on him when he goes outside. And I normally have a lead in my other hand just in case I need it. But this day I didn't. So I grabbed hold of this ring and I said, come on, mate, let's go home. I was next door at my sister's place and he bit me. He just turned around and bit my hand. And I thought to myself, did he just bite me? I let it go that time, and a couple of weeks later, the same thing happened. So what would I do? I actually got my fist and went bang in the side of his mouth. Don't you bite me. And he's never done it again. But for these people, I would say that this dog has gotten so used to, I go to the park and I run around. That's what I do. There's no rules, okay? There's no altering his routine. There's no rules. And so then the dog has gotten to the point where if you don't do what he wants, because he's put himself up here above the humans, he will bite them. And she was covered. She didn't get one bite. She was covered in bruises. So that is the end result of not training your dog well enough or not training it early enough or thinking that you will get to it next week, which becomes next week and next month and next year.
It's actually very scary to think about the consequences, and that sounds horrific, that what that woman's gone through, but that could be, it could be even worse, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And people think that it's only the German Shepherds or the Dobermans or the Rotties or the Staffies that treat their owners like that, and it is not. This was a beautiful golden retriever and dash hounds and Maltese Shih Tzus and, or Chihuahuas. A Chihuahua bit me the other day, ran behind me and bit me on the back of the leg. But people think it's only the aggressive breeds that do it. It isn't. I was called out to a house in town here a few years ago now. She had a Maltese, little white dog. She couldn't sit on the floor and play with her toddler daughter because the dog would jump on her back and bite her. And she couldn't walk past the dog if he was eating his breakfast or his dinner because the dog would leave its food and go and bite her. And if the husband was in the shower getting ready for bed that night, the dog was on his side. If he moved the dog would bite him. Why? Because they hadn't done the training and they hadn't taken their rightful place as leaders of the pack. We're mum and dad to the children. We expect our children to, once we've taught them the rules, to obey the rules. We need to teach our dogs the rules and they should obey the rules. Simple as that.
They thrive with boundaries, don't they? And I would love to speak about the positive impact of implementing those boundaries. So what changes do you see with the owners that do implement the training early? What positive impact do you see on the puppy and the household?
Calmness. People will always say, even after day one, people always say to me, the dog is just different. He's calm. And do you know why? Because when we take our place as pack leader, when we say to the dog, it's all right, mate, I've got it, the dog can just relax. It's all right. My pack leader's got it. And so when we step up to the plate and just train our dog and act like a leader, the dog goes, okay, I can relax. And that really is that quick. If you learned some dog language today and implemented that, then it really is that quick. People say when I get there on day 2, people say, I can't believe it. There is no more chaos. There is just calmness. The dog just goes to sleep now, where before he was on the go and on the go and on the go.
Mm.
That's another thing. Get rid of all the toys. The dog doesn't need the toys. Can I just talk about that just for 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
People have so many toys. What do they do wrong when the puppy first comes home? They buy 100 toys, or even 50 toys. Buy 1 or buy 2, or give it a stick from a tree. That's it. When you play with the toys and you teach the little puppy, you throw it and he goes and gets it and he might bring it back or he might not. But when you play games like that, that toy represents stimulation. There are so many online trainers, do-gooder trainers that keep on saying to people, your dog's bored, you need to stimulate him. That's rubbish. Dogs have no concept of boredom. That is not true. So you got all of these trainers online saying, all these internet trainers, gurus, do-gooders saying, your dog needs more toys. You got to stimulate it, particularly when you're not home. When you're not home, you want your dog to lay down and go to sleep, not play. So when you've got all of these toys in the backyard, this toy represents chasing. So you chase it. Now, the dog, when the dog sees that toy, he's automatically in a hyped up state, whether you throw that toy or not. If it's a tennis ball that you play with him, when he sees that tennis ball, he's automatically stimulated. That's what stimulating your dog does. Now, if you take that ball away or those toys away and hide them so the dog can't see them, because the dog will search for them for a little minute. But if you take them away, I guarantee 100% your dog will lay down. You take the stimulation away and the dog just relaxes and lays down. But when you've got 50 toys that it's allowed to just go from this one to this one to this one to this one to this one, it will do that. And then those toys represent stimulation. The dog can't relax. It's on the go all the time. Take the toys away. Let it have a chill pill. Act like a pack leader, and there will be calmness and just relaxation around the dog and the house and the kids.
I love that. And I love that so much of your work feels quite simple. And that's not to say that it's not powerful, but it's just making sure that the human, the pack owner, takes consistent
Yeah.
action. And that leads me on to asking you about your 3-day program. So you have an online program. You're based in Australia, but you can work with people anywhere
Anyway.
in the world.
Yeah.
Because you have a 3-day online program. And some people might be listening and thinking, well, how can that work? Do I not need Sharon in my pocket or in my house? Would you like to share a bit more about your 3-day program and how it can work without you needing to be in the room?
For sure. So when I was breeding German Shepherds, people used to ask me, do you train other people as well? Because I would help people who bought our puppies teach it to sit and come and all of that sort of thing. And I said, no, I only do it for our puppy people. In the end, I made this DVD and it was just going to be come sit drop or come sit walk on a lead, whatever it was going to be. But then I realized that if I only did that, then people could only do what I did parrot fashion. They wouldn't know why they were doing it or why it worked. So back then it was a 2-disc DVD. Seems funny now, but it turned into an introduction, of course, dog psychology. How does a dog learn? If we don't understand dog language and if we don't understand how a dog learns, then how can we train it? They're a canine. They're completely different to us and they have their own language. And it's not always a word language. Sometimes it's a different language. So when we learn the language, we can train it to come in 3 days. We can train it to sit in 3 days. We can train it to do whatever we want. Walking fluently on a lead beside our left leg in 3 days. And so back in the day, the reason why I haven't got a huge online presence is because I was never an online trainer. I was always a one-on-one trainer. I used to go to people's homes all the time. And I thought that I used to say that I could do it in 3 days. So now I'm going to teach you to do it in 3 days. So that's how it all came about. And it just turned into this massive 3-hour training about how does a dog learn? How do we teach it to sit, come, drop, walk on a lead, stop barking, stop jumping up on the screen door, stop doing all of those things, teach it to drop, things not to teach it, that sort of thing. And so then that became the DVD. And so people say, well, don't I need you? Well, no, not really. I learnt out of a book back in the day before we had DVDs and before we had a lot of TV trainers and stuff like that. All the training that any of us ever did was from a book. And so then you had to rely on the odd picture, like how do you put a choker chain on? There was a picture in the book, so I learned how to do it. How do we do all of these things? Well, they were from books, but now we've got video and I can show you how to do it. So the only thing you don't get when you buy my training is me in person. But I talk to you like I'm talking to you now, but I'm showing you with untrained puppies. The 2 puppies on this training are German Shepherds. So I didn't choose them. My ex-husband was the breeder, so he chose the dogs that we were going to keep. And they were the 2 dogs that I trained. These 2 from this litter we're keeping. So they're the 2 that I chose, and I was only ever going to do 1. But the little bitch, she was so good at doing everything that I had to include the dog, the male, hoping that he made some mistake, which he did. So I've trained 2 untrained puppies. I am not the sort of trainer that cuts out the bad bits. You need to know how to fix it if your puppy makes a mistake. You need to know. It's going to do you no good if I cut the bad bits out. So these puppies were 9 weeks old when I started because the whole week that they were 8 weeks old, we had rain. The whole week. And you'd have to know that where I live, we don't do anything in the rain because we don't get a lot of rain. So, oh, it's raining. We don't even have a raincoat. So I started their training at 9 weeks of age. We ran into trouble when I was teaching them to sit and wait. It took me 2 weeks. Normally only takes me 1 week. And I talk it through on the video, on the training. Why? Why is it taking me so long to do this? And so then when Vina and Odin that I trained made a mistake, I talk about the mistake. How do we fix that mistake? This is what we do to fix it. So cover as many scenarios as I can. Walking on lead for the first time. Odin was okay. Fina screamed her lungs out. Stuff like that. So that's all on there. So you can see what to do. And I just talk in everyday language. I don't talk about adversives, which is stuff. I just talk in corrections. Puppies learn in 3 ways. They learn through association. We put a word to an action. The word come with the action come, or you can use a different language, whatever you want. The word sit to the action sit. So they learn through association. They learn through mimicking. Whatever we do, they do. Whatever the cat does, they do. Whatever the dog does, they do. Whatever another dog does, they do. If your kids kick the ball over the fence and then they jump the fence to go and get it, the puppy will learn to jump the fence later on. That's mimicking. Mimicking works for us and against us. I explain all of that. And then the third one is corrections. Why do I believe that dogs need to be corrected for bad behavior? So I'm a balanced dog trainer. I'm not a positive response dog trainer. I'm not a science-based dog trainer. I'm a balanced dog trainer. I believe that dogs need a correction when they make a mistake. There's only a couple of corrections you can use on a puppy that work, that don't damage their character. Why do I believe that? When the puppies are born and they suck on the bitch really hard, the big ones suck really hard, she'll get her nose and push them away. Correction number 1. They come straight back and suck even harder. She puts her teeth over their head and pushes them away. Correction number 2. If that puppy is silly enough to come straight back and do it again, she'll get her back foot and kick it from one side of the whelping box to the other and not say sorry. And because they don't have complex logic, they don't have the ability to reason, if it's winter and the puppy is outside the warmth of the heaters, it will die and she doesn't even know. Because puppies are born cold-blooded. They need external heat to keep them warm on the first 3 days of life. So here she is. The puppy's hurt her. She kicks it away. There's the correction. If it stays out there and it's winter, it'll get cold and die. That's why we come in. Humans have to be there. That's why I believe that puppies need corrections. As they get bigger, she has to stand up to feed them, and they're trying to balance on their bumps. And they're scratching like this because they're balancing, and they really hurt her. And then they grab her with their teeth, and they really hurt her. She'll turn around and fang them over the top of the neck or the face, wherever she can reach. There's their correction. Stop hurting me. So that's why I believe that puppies need corrections. And if you, the bitch, if you copy what she does, you can see, not that we kick them, that's not what we do, but how do we do what she does so that we can speak the dog's language and train the pup? And it is as easy as 1, 2, 3 when you know how. It is that easy.
Sharon, your insights are so interesting. And I can imagine people watching are fascinated by your lived experience. I love that with your program, you show the good, the bad, and everything in between. It just sounds really real. And I think that's what people need to be able to implement that in their own puppies to create that calmness that you spoke about. And like you said, that's the reason that most people get a dog, to be part of the family and
Yeah.
to enhance that. It sounds incredible. And before I ask how people can connect with you, I would love to touch on your own podcast journey. Like, say you're based in Australia, but you're now getting booked to speak on podcasts around the world. What's inspired you to speak on podcasts so that you can reach more people?
Well, I guess it is so that I can reach more people. Ever since I started Success Puppy Training, I have always wanted to be the #1 puppy training specialist in the world. I'm certainly very well known where I live, but to be on a podcast, I mean, you're in America. Tomorrow I'm doing a podcast. The host is in Canada. Now I can actually get my message out. Let's train our puppies when you first get them. The training is easy. You don't have to be harsh. Then by the time your puppy is 5 months, 7 months, 12 months, you might have to go back and revisit a couple of things because at those ages, the puppy goes, nah, I don't really need to do that anymore. But when you've done it all here, you only need to revisit it. You don't need to do it all over again. It's just as easy as, remember, this is what I mean, So you can go back to the basic training rather than get cranky with the dog. You can just go back and say, this is what I mean. Do you remember? Oh, yeah, says the pup. And then you're off and running again. But when we can train them from 8 weeks to 16 weeks and then carry on, it is so easy. And the puppy is so willing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I really want people to hear is the puppy is so willing and so trainable at that age group, 7 weeks to 16 weeks. They'll still train after that. Of course they do. But here we teach them to learn to learn.
And they thrive with those boundaries. That's really clear from what you've shared today.
Yep.
And for anyone watching that would love to learn more and to connect with you, Sharon, what's the best way that they can do that?
You can connect with me on Facebook. I'm mostly on Facebook. My website is successpuppytraining.com. My online training program, the one that we've just been talking about, is Train Your Puppy in Just 3 Days. And I thought for your listeners too, Cassie, that if people wanted to buy that, if you've got a puppy right now and you like the idea of training early, if you want to buy the Train Your Puppy in Just 3 Days, I'll give you a discount. It's a $30 discount. The training is $147 Australian, so it's about $97 American. Take $30 off, you got $67. The coupon code is SPT for Success Puppy Training. SPT Puppy. If you put that into the checkout, it will give you a $30 discount if you're ready to get started. Also, you can go to my free stuff page. If you want to read, this is being made into a book. Super Dogs Are Made, Not Born. I've had it made into an ebook. I didn't write it. A lady called Joyce O'Cully. She didn't do the study, but she wrote it in a readable way. That's free on my website. So it's the critical stages from birth through to 16 weeks. You can read it for yourself. Go onto my website, go to the tab free stuff and go down there. There's a diet chart, the 3 golden rules. Super Dogs Are Made, Not Born. Go and have a look at that. Or if you're ready to get started, Train Your Puppy in Just 3 Days is what I recommend.
Sharon, thank you so much for sharing such valuable information with us today. We are really looking forward to continuing working with you, supporting you on your podcast journey and going global to reach even more people to train their puppies. So thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kathy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for listening.